Peace. Hey, good morning. Good morning. This is Oluo for Kolade. How's everybody?
Boye gbogbo awo aboru boye ẹ̀yin babaláwo èèyàn ìbọrù boye oyan.
How's everyone today? Once again, this is Kolade. We're so happy to see y'all today. We want to begin the day with prayer. All right. Mojuba Ọlọ́run, Mojuba Ẹlẹ́dàá, Mojuba Olódùmarè, Mojuba Bobo Romale, Mojuba Bobo Ibale, Mojuba Boy Gun Timbili Solódùmarè, Mojuba Miss Mother Dear Lucille Daniels Murray, Mojuba Doris Hall, Mojuba Bates Murray Sr., Mojuba Alfred Daniels, Mojuba Clifford Daniels Watkins, Mojuba Dahlia, Mojuba Zion, Mojuba Nago, Mojuba Clifford Holmes, Mojuba Clifford Watkins, Mojuba Jenny Dunn, Mojuba Katie Bradley, Mojuba Oscar Bradley, Mojuba James L. Riggs, Mojuba Benino Chino, Juan Vilmil, No Black, Dennis Agustin Vilmil, Mojuba Bobo Ekun Timbili Solomar. Ejogbe. He who hears people's pleas and accepts the pleas. He who hears people's pleas and approves the pleas. He who talks to people and ensures that the talk is completely absorbed. He who hears people's pleas and accepts the pleas is the name of IFA. He who hears people's pleas and approves of pleas is the name of Eshrodar. He who talks to people and ensures that the talk is completely absorbed is the name of Orishanla. Orishanla, you the person modes from beings. The person modes one cannot fail to impress one. The strike frog is when summer's rainfall. The bullfrog is when summer's downpour. It is whatever the Akereju poem to you tells the earth is what earth accepts. Whatever the big rat tells the earth is where the earth accepts. All what I tell you, Fa, please accept them and approve them. I share. O Turete, to show gratitude upon gratitude is the owl of all gratitude. To display benevolence upon benevolence is the owl of all benevolence. Whoever does not show gratitude for yesterday's benevolence, such a person now receive today's gratuity. These were the declaration of Ifa to the 401 in Rumale when going to marry Opwe, daughter of Ushibuji. These are also declarations of Ifa to Rumala when going to marry Opwe, the daughter of Ushibuji. I am grateful I received my gratuity. I'm grateful for yesterday's favor. I received today's gratuity. O Tuarete, we are very grateful. Ashe. Awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe, oh, awa bure. Adúpẹ́ àná o, òbòrè tó nẹ́bọ̀ Olódùmarè. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bòrè. Àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa bòrè. Adúpẹ́ àná o, òbòrè tó nẹ́bọ̀ orí àní. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bòrè. Àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa bòrè. Adúpẹ́ àná o, òbòrè tó nẹ́bọ̀ ìrúmọlẹ̀. Àwa dúpẹ́, àwa bòrè. Àwa dúpẹ́ o, àwa bòrè. Adúpẹ́ àná o, òbòrè tó nẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́gùn lóríṣà. Olódùmarè and the divinities. We ask that you would also forgive us. Forgive us for the things that we've done incorrectly. Forgive us for any taboos that we might have broken. To pound a yam without scoop could be very difficult to consume. These were the declaration of Ifa to Tutu, the child of Agbanemegun. He was full of bad character. He was bad attitude that prevented him from entering Tifa's domain. Now comes to solicit on behalf of Tutu. We've come to beg on behalf of Tutu. Father, please be patient. Overlook this provocation. Those who beg on behalf of Tutu. How many children does Ifa have that he would cast one out? Those who beg on behalf of Tutu. I share. Ifa, at this time, we call on you. We call on the Odu Ifa of Ogbelara. Ogbelara, Rumla said it's time to sleep. I echoed it's time to sleep. When the day dawned, I met a Rumla in the 16th room, where he covered his head with a flowing gown full of lice. He was wearing a dress full of bloodstains. He was snoring heavily. They told him that a delegate from his disciple had arrived. Rumla inquired about what the delegate had brought. They told him they brought 2 rats swift in running, 2 fish graceful in swimming, 2 birds swift in flight, and 2 goats with big livers. Rumla said that is not enough to wake him up. I admit my ignorance. Please educate me. Motuna Karaba. I hide myself in your bosom and survive. Motuna Karaba. The dog carrying masqueraded beast Agbadron repeatedly. The dog carrying masqueraded beast Agbadron repeatedly to perform rituals because of children. You are the leaders. We are the followers. Leaders are the ones who show the followers wisdom. Arumla told them to get alligator pepper, to get cola nut, to get bitter coconut, to get alcohol. The capo got the alligator pepper, he got the cola nut, got the bitter coconut, and he got the alcohol. That is right. Now that he was fully awake. O Rumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me with eyes of compassion. It is with eyes of compassion that the heavenly stars use to look at the stars below. O Rumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me through eyes of compassion. Please look at me with your eyes which help one to secure great wealth. There's such good eyes that the heavenly stars use to look at the stars below. O Rumla, when you are fully awake, please look at me through eyes which help one to have a good spouse. There's such good eyes my spouse is using and looking at me with. O Rumla, when you're fully awake, please look at me through eyes which help one to have many children, and such good eyes a child should use, and look at a well-decorated plate. Be for long, not too far, join us in the midst of all evil in life. I'm sure. IFA, at this time, we ask that you would continue to ward off death, ward off sickness, ward off cases, controversy, ward off fights, litigation, losses, outright fights, witchcraft, and negative energies from us, and bring forth to us long life, good spouse, good children, longevity, prosperity, victory over adversity, peace of mind, healing, and joy. We call on Oshetra, Akikine Bagisa. The extract against the tree, Castify for Rumla when he used to receive Ibana share from Olodamari. If an award tells you you should be wealthy, you should surely be wealthy. Akikine Bagisa. In the mouth of an owl is Azibana share. In the mouth of an owl. If no to have victory, surely victory. Akikine Bagisa. In the mouth of an owl is Azibana share. In the mouth of an owl. If no to have joy, surely have joy. Akikine Bagisa. In the mouth of an owl is Azibana share. In the mouth of an owl. No, you should have healing. You should surely have healing. I kick in Bagisa, the mouth of an hour, Zadibana, and the mouth of an hour. Tosi, maybe so sure. Shall be? Oh, Shatura. Tiny on the feet of Tubu, the stripe of a chameleon is not big enough to use its headgear. Had it been enough to use its headgear, I would have taken it home and adorned my head with it. These were the declarations of Ifa. These were Ifa's declarations to Aruela when going on a spiritual mission to Jebelin. We call on the locust bean seller and pay him money. We call on the salt seller and make her rich. We call on Oshiaruela is a good war. Ashe. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Bọ́bọ̀n tí mo bá màmá wí o. Ìrúnmọlẹ̀ ó bà. Ifá ó bà o. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Timo turo, Timo sure. Bímọ bẹ̀rẹ̀, tí mò ń súre. Bímọ kúnlẹ̀, tí mò ń súre. Bímọ jókòó, tí mò ń súre. Ire tí mo sùn, orí ti bọ́. Now if we can put our hands on our oris, our heads. Orí ẹni làrúre ẹni ọ̀. Orí ẹni làrúre ẹni. Mojúlọ mi ò fà wá mọ́rí. Orí ẹni làrúre ẹni. Àṣẹ. Bọ̀bọ̀rẹ̀ chasu. Ifá ó bá Ọlọ́run. Àtìbà chájú. Ifá ó bá Ọlọ́run. Ó ṣe àrú ìlà Ifá ti bọ́. Olódùmarè and the divinities, we call upon you. We thank you for life. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength. We thank you for food, clothing, and shelter. We thank you for protecting us from disease, COVID-19, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. We thank you for protecting us from these things and warding off all the ajogun, warding off poverty, warding off loss, warding off death, warding off challenges, and bringing forth to us long life, good spouse, good children, longevity, prosperity, peace of mind, victory, healing, and all the good things of life. If I would call on you at this time as we begin this discussion of fake friends, fake lovers, we ask that you would help us to get to the root of the matter. I share. Emma kami many amo, Emma kami many ano, Emma kami many atelokun, Tamole, Tori Ifa lonemi, Ebora timpanini, Ene banami, Ahun atifa, Leleju. I share. Abora boy, how's everybody? Thank you all for tapping in with us. This is Olu Fakola de Idinka Ifa Temple. Thank you all for tapping in and joining us today. You could be anywhere, but you chose to tap in with us today. And we so very much appreciate you all for doing that. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. So today's topic is going to be one that's very interesting. And that topic is fake friends and fake lovers, fake friends, fake homies, folks who are not the homie. The interesting thing, we was playing the song at the beginning, or the instrumental of this interesting Drake song called Fake Love. And this song is very pertinent to what we are talking about today. And the title of that song is Fake Love, as I said before. But what does Drake say? We're going to talk about the Odu verses from Drake today. I got fake people showing fake love to me, straight up to my face, like straight up to my face. They want to, that's when they smile in my face, the whole time they want to take my place. So when we think about this aspect of individuals who are friends, lovers, loved ones, and I want us to analyze through E5 verse what Drake is talking about. Individuals who are fake in our face, but then behind our back talk greasy. People who smile in your face the whole time they want to take what you have. They envy what you have. They want to take what you have. They want to take you from you. They want to take what was meant for you from you for them. And in terms of this, it makes me think about what are the attributes of a good friend. So when I think about good friends, I think about comrades, loved ones, people who are empathetic to us, people who are selfless, people who are trustworthy, people who have shared interests in us and what we do, people who might be from different backgrounds, but they see that there's a similarity between all of us. People who are team players. Friends don't compete with other friends. And friends stick up for each other. When one friend's not around, they stick up for the other. So these are just some of those attributes. And then when I looked up some of the attributes of friendship in the Bible, Psalms 18 verse 24 says, "A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." And when we think about that, we think about a definition of a friend is someone who might stick to you closer than a brother. Sometimes some of our friends might not even be individuals who are even in our relative scope. They might not even be our relatives. They might not even be folks of our same bloodline. And uniquely, sometimes these are the folks who are the closest to us, that have our back when times are down. Sometimes family might, you know, they might let you go, you know. But sometimes we got folks who are our friends who are like, you know what, no matter what, that's my ride or die until the end. So when we think about this, I want to use that as kind of the framework for what we're going to talk about today. And I want to begin with talking about fake love. And maybe not fake love, but more so people who fabricate themselves in a certain way and give us the best representation of themselves in a relationship. And then when you get to know them, you begin to see the real. And this was a unique story associated with a young lady named Iye. Ifa says in the Odu Ogbeerete, the stream is wise. The broken calabash is equally wise. The broken calabash does not want the stream to submerge it whenever it is morning time. The broken calabash will float gingerly on the stream water. These were Ifa's declarations to Iye, who was an offspring or child of Olokun Seniade. When she was in search of a husband, before long, not too far, join us in the midst of all Ire. So interestingly enough, this young lady, Iye, was the daughter of Olokun Seniade. And she was right at the age where she was ready to be married and she was looking for a husband. She was looking for someone that would be her best friend, life partner, and confidant. And she went to cast Ifa. And the Babalao told her what the Ebo was. He gave her all the advice in the world that she needed. And EA was like, I don't know if I don't want to pay that money to offer a bow because I think I know I have a great idea of who I should actually pick. I can pick anyone. I'm gonna have a good husband because I said so. I'm going to use my own mind to pick. Sometimes some of our pickers are broken. And sometimes Ifa is the key to help us repair our picker. So Iye, the first one that she met was a guy named Akuko. He was the rooster. And she married Akuko. And as she and Akuko were married, she then realized Akuko was lazy. When it came time to pay bills, Akuko was out cockle-doodle doing or he was out playing games. And whenever she needed assistance in that regard, Akuko was nowhere to be found. He was lazy and he was also very content with being mediocre. He didn't want to venture beyond being a person who was scratching the ground, finding corn pieces, corn husk. He didn't care about envisioning anything more than that. And Iye tried to change Akuko, but to no avail. He wanted to be who he was. So then what do you think happened? Iye then decided, you know what, I'm gonna leave him. I think Akuko's the wrong man for me. So then, after the divorce was finalized, she found another gentleman. And his name was Odidere, and that means the parrot. And so she married Odidere. And as she married him and got to know him after she got married to him, she began to realize, man, the parrot talks a lot. Odidere, he talks too much. He was a compulsive gossiper. And he would often share the secrets of their intimate dealings with the public. He would tell everybody all his business. And it was virtually involuntary the way that Odidere would act. And he revealed his secrets, he revealed his wife's secrets, he revealed the community secrets, and to the point where everyone in the community began to look down on Odidere. And Iye herself was like, you know what? I don't think this is the right man for me. So as that process or divorce became final, Iye herself found herself in the market. And as she was in the market, she saw the most handsome gentleman there. What would be considered the hunk of the season, the hunk of the year, the Idris Elba. She saw the equivalent of that guy in the market, and Iye instantly fell in love with him. His name was Aroni. She met him, and it was love at first sight. He was in love with her, and she was in love with him. And Iye then decided, you know what? I'm gonna follow Aroni. I will follow you home and be your wife. So, as they were walking through the market and making their way out of the market, and they were talking, and they're so in love and just flirting back and forth, people started trying to get Iye's attention. They're like, Iye, you don't want to go with that dude. That's a complete stranger. You don't want to go with that guy. And she was like, nope, I'm on my way. All Iye saw was this physically attractive gentleman. And he was strapping and strong and tall, dark, and handsome, so to speak. And she continued to follow Aroni into the forest. She knew nothing about who he was. So, unbeknownst to her, Aroni was really the name of a very hideous spirit that lived in the forest. And unknown to her, Aroni had borrowed all of his body parts from pieces and things in the forest. So as he was walking through the forest and talking to her and telling her how much in love he was with her, all of a sudden he walked by the the apa tree, and then he takes his arms off and puts his arms on the apa tree, and she's like, "What the what?" And then as he's walking along, he then kind of scoots his way out of his legs and gave his legs back to the Iroko tree. And by this time, Iye was like, oh my God, this strapping man had stripped himself down to what looked like a stump. And then he rode by, I should say, he rode by the Oriro tree. And then he basically coughed up his eyeballs, and gave them back to the Oriro tree. That was the time that Iye made a break for it. Can we say sometimes you need to make a break for it? Sometimes you need to say, nah, baby, you're not for me. You ever be in a relationship? Nowadays I saw this thing where this guy he was completely bald. He had lost all his hair, and they put a whole a whole front on top of his head and cut it and edged it up, and the dude had waves. And I was like, whoa, they working miracles. They are working miracles with hair these days at the barber shop. I saw one where a woman put a whole beard on her face, edged it up, and was looking clean. I was like, look at that dude. Whoa, this is deep. What I'm saying is people are coming into this world and communicating with you. And oftentimes, they are not who they say they are. Sometimes they might look the part, but in reality, they are not what they show themselves. They call it being catfished on the internet, where you go to a person's internet page and then they've got a picture, this beautiful picture of somebody, and you're thinking, oh my God, that is who I'm talking to. And then all of a sudden they want to meet and they look nothing like the picture. Well, oh, that was 20 years ago. Yeah, those 20 years have been rough, rough on you. Anyway, so back to our story. Iye, then as she continued this process, she decided, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the Babalao that Cassidy fought for me. We need to sort this out because I think there's a problem. So she then goes back to the home of the Awo, and as she reaches his home, she lets him know, look, I really need to cast Ifa again, sir. And he says, okay, I have things to do. I've got chores to handle. And what he did is he let her know to wait because she had arrived there unannounced. And then the Awo began to prepare his house for morning prayers. His children came out. He had got his children bathed and ready to go. And then they got together and then they did their morning prayers together. Then there were various debts that had come to his doorstep that he needed to settle at that time. So we started handling all of his business and balancing his budget for the day. And unbeknownst to this Awo, Iye was very impressed with him. She began looking at him and like, wow, these are the qualities that I would like in a spouse. Someone who's responsible, someone who's loving, someone who takes care of the business that is needed at hand, someone who's honest, someone who's real. And all of these things began to impress Iye even more as she saw how this Babalao continued to do the right thing. And then it came time for her to cast Ifa. And at this moment, she whispered to those Ikin, Ifa, I want you to let me know if I should marry this man because he represents the things that I want in a husband. So the Awo casted Ifa and the Odu was Ogberete. And immediately he began to chant Ifa and he told her, you are an Apetebi. You are a woman who should be married to a Babalao. Also, this Ifa says that you have met a man recently, and this man is the man that you should marry, and you're actually asking about a man at this time. And she then began to say, oh my goodness, Ifa has told my whole story. You are actually the man that I was asking about. And she inquired, would that be something that they could venture upon a conversation about marriage? They performed all the correct rituals according to what Ifa said. They did everything according to what Ifa said in order to be married. And then within a year, Iye had children. So when we think about this Ifa verse, Ifa is telling us in relationships, romantic relationships, what are things that we need to look for in our spouse? We need to observe them before we leap into a decision. Me and my wife have been watching this interesting show called Love is Blind. I don't know if y'all have caught that. Real interesting show where these people communicate back and forth without seeing each other, and then they have to propose marriage based upon just what they have known or learned about each other inside of these pods where they're communicating. And the interesting thing is in those intimate settings where they're sharing information, they reveal a lot more about each other. They reveal a lot more about themselves merely in conversation. This process of taking time to get to know each other without the, I would say that not only the distraction, but without the unnecessary aspect of sexual intercourse, pre knowing a person, um, or being involved in just the physical aspect of what one looks like and what that reveals as a result of analysis, and then checking to see do we share the same values. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. And you know what, let's talk about this a little bit more. What Ifa's saying here is that as we pick spouses and we pick friends, things that we need to do are observe. We need to observe people. We need to see how they act. And I wouldn't say like test them, but it is a form of a test by observing their actions, observing their activities. If a person that you're interested in, you see them doing a lot of fraud, trying to defraud people or try to tell lies to get over, but they're good to you, that might be a red flag. You see a person and you are interested in them and you notice that they talk about all the other people that they're close with. They talk bad about their friends. That might be a red flag. I'm just saying we need to observe them. As what Ifa is saying, observe these people before we make a commitment. Because just as EA did, she went through 3 pretty rough relationships. You know, a person who was completely fake, a person who was who talked too much, and then an individual who was lazy. And oftentimes we can find all 3 of those in one person. Ashe. So in the Odu Iwori Bogbe, Ifa gives us an idea of what are some attributes that we need to look for in a friend. What are some things that Ifa says? So Iwori Bogbe Oloko, Ifa says, offend me and let me call your attention to it. That is the panacea of good friendship. This was the Ifa cast for Iwori, who will be calling attention to Ogbe in an issue. He was advised to offer Abo, he complied. So with this, Ifa is telling us that your friends, our friends, should be folks who can tell us the truth. Our friends and loved ones should be individuals who should be able to give us the real, and we can talk about it to get to a higher level. That's such an important aspect, is that aspect of a good friend to be able to even check you when you need to get checked. Your friend can get into that space where past vulnerability, past pain, and get to the core of you and be able to share with you what they observe. Sometimes you need someone there to give you insight about who you are. As I say, checked with love and praised with love as well. Your friend should give you the real. In the Odu Ifa of Oshe Masa, Oshe on the right, Osa on the left, Ifa says friendship is good, quarrel is not. After quarreling, friendship is destroyed. This was Ifa's message for Oso, the offspring in the land of Ake. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Love is the most important. Let's show love to one another. So in this Odu, Ifa is talking about Sometimes in a fight, in a quarrel, we can say things that end friendships. So when we talk about relationships and friendships, we should even have an etiquette to fighting. There are certain things we don't say. There are certain ways we don't talk to each other. We don't reduce each other. We always try to build each other up, even if we disagree. So this is saying that we need to be really adult when entering into these relationships. A lot of times when I think about friendship, you know, I think about, or friendship and even relationships. When we go to work, there are certain legal mechanisms that kind of keep us at times from being extremely disrespectful to our supervisors or subordinates. There's a certain way that there's a certain level of or approach that we have to do when we engage in even those relationships at work. And we call it professionalism. And I say that professionalism oftentimes keeps people from, really cussing each other out at work at tough times. I know some people who do cuss folks out, but that's beside the point. My point is this. By and large, we maintain cordial relationships with folks at our job. You don't want to talk crazy to your boss because you might get fired. What if we took the same value system of approaching friends, approaching spouse with the same level of professionalism? What I mean by that is, all right, we got certain boundaries, certain etiquette. We're not going to cross into this boundary of I'm not going to use these kind of words with you. I'm not going to take these types of actions with you. Many times in friendships and in relationships, when we get angry or something happens that we don't like, that individual that we said we loved a minute ago becomes our enemy with our speech. So, how do we transform that? And what I say is, in all of those things, we need to maintain certain boundaries, certain etiquette, certain protocol in terms of how we relate to each other. The Odu Ifa Oshe Imule, also known as Oshe Wori Ifa, says, um, I'm good at keeping secrets. I'm good at honoring covenants. I'm good at entering into covenant with friends without betraying my friends. These were Ifa's declarations to Orumila when going to enter into a covenant with the elders of the night at the bank of the river. He was advised to offer Ebo. He complied. We entered into a covenant and we ate rats. We entered into a covenant and we ate fish. We entered into a covenant and we ate birds. We entered into a covenant and we ate beasts. We entered into a covenant and we ate mashed yams. We leave all ashe in the hands of the covenant that we all entered into. So Ifa is saying here that in building relationships and maintaining relationships, there are other things that also are very important. And those things are accountability, commitment. And along with coming to this level of accountability, these levels of commitment, another thing that we need to be very conscious of and very aware of is I'm not going to reveal your secrets to the world. I'm not going to tell the whole world about your weakness. I'm not going to ridicule you for your weakness as my friend. I will not subdue you or expose you, to any level of humiliation. I'm not going to talk bad behind your back if you are my friend. And when we start looking at these attributes of what Ifa is saying in terms of how we should conduct ourselves with a friend and in our relationships, interestingly enough, these things also relate to being a good person, being omoluwabi, living a life of good character. That is what Ifa, in essence, is telling us. Those are the attributes of being a good friend and maintaining friendship. Lastly, I want to talk about this Ifa verse of Ogberete. And this is a very interesting story about Orunmila and how Orunmila decided that he wanted to see who were his friends and who were his enemies. So this Odu says, let us close our eyes and pretend to be dead, for us to know who will mourn us. Let us deliberately miss our step and slip, for us to know who will express concern. It will not be so bad for us, for it not to remain one person loyal to us. That person is what is difficult to determine. These were Ifa's declarations to Orunmila when planning to feign his own death. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Orunmila, whom you all said was dead, was no longer dead. It was their sorrow they were all crying over. It was their melancholy they were all manifesting. So this Ifa is so interesting because Orunmila at this time, he was surrounded by so many different people. He was, pretty famous. And this fame and notoriety, so many people were like, oh my God, Orunmila, you are the greatest. They were coming up with nicknames and praise names for Orunmila. Orunmila the greatest. Orunmila the one who does so many great things for us. The Orunmila the great communicator. They were giving Orunmila all of these praise names and nicknames, and he had all these friends and admirers everywhere. Some even went as far as to say, Orunmila, you know what, Baba, I'll take a bullet for you. I'll take a bullet for you. I would die for you, Baba. And there were numerous people who were saying these things. And Orunmila was thinking to himself, he was like, this is really interesting. I've got so many well-wishers, but I don't think all of these individuals who are wishing me so well, I don't believe they're all telling the truth. I don't really know who to trust. So Orunmila then began to devise a plan to figure out who was a genuine friend and who was a pretender. He wanted to give his admirers the opportunity and also his enemies the opportunity to completely reveal themselves. So Orunmila went to one of his students for Ifa consultation. During the consultation, the Awo told Orunmila, what you need to do is you need to fake your own death. Excuse me. He was told to offer a bow and then to cut down part of an arira tree and cut it to the exact height of Orunmila. And then sacrifice a he-goat and let the blood of that he-goat soak in to that the arira tree. And then he was told to put the head at the top of that tree stump and then wrap it as if it were a corpse and lay it on his bed and wrap it with his own bed sheets. So after Orunmila did this, then Orunmila was told, now go hide and see the reactions of the people who are coming and going. So on that day, they announced his death. They told the whole community Orunmila has died. And so many people came to the house that first day and they were crying. And many were trying to confirm, okay, did Orunmila really die? He's dead. Oh my God. Oh my God. So after this first wave of individuals who came to check and see, then a few minutes later, some others came and they said that they were Orunmila's friends. Matter of fact, they said that they were Orunmila's best friends. They said that they were the closest to Orunmila. And they began to say, well, but you know what? We're so sorry for the loss. We were Orunmila's best friends. We were with him. We're his day ones. But you see, he owed us money. So we were here to collect on the 1,000 that he owed. Oh, he owed me 1,000 as well. But I mourn the loss of my friend. He owed me 1,000 as well. No, he owed me 2,000 because you see in Yoruba land, what ends up happening when someone dies, you end up you ante up the debts, and then the family comes together, and as part of the fees of the funeral, the family then pays out the debts. Okay, and what ends up happening is, because oftentimes there aren't many ways to document it, so we rely on your honor. So folks are coming, and different folks are coming in and out, and they're saying, he owed me this, but just give me half. Just give me half. We're straight, like literally. And then others came, and they were like, man, Orunmila was a sucker. And it was kind of like that Tupac Juice scenario where the folks that hated you the most show up to the passing, and then they kiss your loved ones and then talk trash behind your back, or or in front of people, but since you're no longer there. Orunmila sat back and he was like, whoa, this is deep. These individuals are unique. And there were more and more individuals who were coming in, and they were making gist about how Orunmila looked. And it was kind of like being able to be a fly on the wall in a room of people who said that they were your friends. What would they say about you? What would the homies say? What would our friends say? All the folks who say, you're my brother, you're my sister, I love you. What would they say about you behind your back? Orunmila was like a fly on the wall listening in. And then some real ones show up. Everybody say a real one. A real one came. A couple of real ones came, and they were like, you know what? They talked to Orunmila's family. They were like, you know what? What do we need to do? We'll get the water. We're going to get that water for you all. We'll bring food to you. Do you need money? Here's money. And the friends, they said, well, you know what? This is day one. We're going to stay until the 40 days are up. We're going to dig the grave and help in the burial of our Baba, the one that we love so much. So in this process, on the 7th day, Orunmila emerged. And all of those true friends who were still there with the family, the ones who were waiting around to assist the family in their loss, the ones who were begging to help dig the grave, to go get food, the real ones. Orunmila saw them and he then began to bless all of them. And they were like crying because they realized, oh my God, Orunmila, you're alive. And then those fake ones, they started showing up to verify that Orunmila was actually alive. So they showed up and then they're like, oh, Orunmila, Baba, please, please forgive us. Forgive us, the ones that came and took money from his family. They were coming, Baba, please forgive us, forgive us. And interestingly enough, the fake ones outnumbered the real ones. So often, the fake ones outnumber the real ones. But I'm still here to say, but when you get a real one, you got something. When you get a real friend that epitomizes those attributes that we talked about of being honest, truthful, loyal, someone who has your best interest in mind. When you got a real one, you got to recognize it and you got to treat them accordingly. But here's the deep thing about it, though. In order to get a real one, you got to be a real one. Let me say that again. In order to get a real friend, you got to be a real friend. If you are not a real one, then you just gonna continue to get fake ones. That's really the jewel of this sermon is in order to get a real one, you got to be a real one. So how do you do that? We talked about it. The same attributes of omoluabi, of being honest, truthful, benevolent, respectful, not giving up, hopeful. All of these things are the things that we also need to bring into our friendships, into our relationships, our love relationships. Imagine if in all of your relationships you mirrored, you displayed the love and respect that you wanted to attract back to you. And sometimes you're not going to get it. Sometimes you're going to get some fake ones because the fake ones, as I said before, oftentimes they outnumber the real ones. But as I said, when you get a real one, you got to know how to act. And sometimes that real one comes about, but you got to stay real. And I'm saying all this, and it sounds, tongue in cheek, and it might even sound, very slang ridden, but it's real. If you want a real one, you got to be real. So being real is being honest, genuine, loving, and exhibiting all of the attributes that make up Omoluabi. So as we move forward, as we move into this process, let us all attempt to represent and replicate the attributes of Omoluabi. Let us all replicate the attributes of Orunmila. And in terms of that, sometimes what that means is even the folks who are your ops, even the ones that are your haters, you still got to treat them real too. You still have to be correct to them as well. And create the boundaries so that you are not destroyed. This is so important. So I thank you all so much for this. Abora boy. I hope you got something out of this. So in terms of this week, we have so many great things coming about. This is coming upon the last week of our Black History Month series. And so those of you who are interested, every Friday night we do an IFA class. Last class was really interesting. We did it on IFA and hoodoo, and talked about the aspects of that, and our rich heritage as African people. So what I would like for us to do, if you're interested, come and tap in with us this coming Friday. This Friday, what we're going to be talking about is re-envisioning the film Sankofa. And if you haven't seen Sankofa and you practice an African tradition, you need to see Sankofa. And if you don't understand it, watch it again. And then come tap in with the class. We're going to discuss the movie Sankofa. I think it's a must see for everybody who practices an African tradition, because you get to see what it represented in being a practitioner in the antebellum period. If you're looking for it, it is on Netflix right now. So, and also you can find it on YouTube. The YouTube version, it's slightly degraded. What I mean by that is like it's pixelated a little bit, but it's on there, and you can find it on Netflix. And we're going to be talking about that film this Friday night. Also, this past week we had our Makings of Men, which was really rich. Those of you who want to be a part of the things that we're doing at Idinka, just let us know. And also, membership is always open. We have so many great things coming about this week. As I said, we've got our Friday night IFA class. Also this week, I want to congratulate and raise hands to my wife. It is her Odunifa week. Ashe, Ashe for Oshun, for Egbe and Ifa. So yeah, Ifa Domininu, we salute you. So that's going to be happening. If you have any well wishes or love, you can text her and send it to her. Yeah, we got so many things coming up this week, but yeah, we look forward to tapping in with all of you all. So if you like what we're doing at IDCA, please tell your friends. We Are Good People song, the Ifa song. All that song is talking about is we need good people. We need good people. All we're looking for is good people. So just as we're looking for good friends, we're looking for good people. So more good people bring about more good people. So if you all are interested in what we're doing, join in, tap in, share the videos that we're putting up, the content that we're sharing. Please like and share it with the community so that we can bring about even more and more and more good people. Thank you all so much. So I want to pray us out, because it's always good to pray. Always good to use this energy. So Olodumare, we ask that you would continue to ward off death, to ward off sickness from us, ward off evil from us, ward off danger, and bring forth to us long life, wealth, good spouse, good children, peace of mind, and healing. We ask you at this time, Olodumare, to help us to be able to differentiate between the real folks and the fake folks, so that we too can live a great and empowered life with good people around us. Thank you all once again. Aboro, Aboye, Aboshishe, Aboto. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. And we hope to see you, hopefully, if you all are interested. We hope to see you this Friday. We hope to see you this week. Ashe. All right, thank you all so much. Good to see you all.